Oh, here we go. Maybe. Fuck. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. Bro, I'm on kick right now. I'm trying to fucking. I'm trying to change the title of this. Because I do a. Bro, I do a multi stream out of OBS. And to a couple different platforms. And it won't set the right title for kick. So I don't know what to do. You know? We'll have to figure that out later. Oh, these are all whack. Alright, whatever. We'll figure it out later. Not a big deal. Alright, guys. What's up, what's up, what's up? It's good to see you. So today what are we doing? We're reading a different book for once. Wow. Reading Mastery by Robert Greene. So generally, weekend, mostly Saturday, I pick something else to read because I want to diversify what I'm learning. And I read this book back in high school, and it was pretty helpful, but I'm not going to lie, not a lot of it made a ton of sense because I was so young. Oh, just for clarity. So this book, Mastery, is basically about how to become a master at a craft. And the author, Robert Greene, walks through, like, basically the process of becoming a master. And it's a very good book. It's one of my favorite books. Read it first time in high school. Didn't grasp much of it because it was all so floating. Because I hadn't done anything yet. I was just learning whatever, taking classes in school. But I wasn't actually pursuing a craft. So, while it was like very motivating and very, I don't know, yeah, it really got me excited to pursue a craft. I don't think a lot of it landed. And right now I am pursuing a craft, which is, well, communication of ideas, philosophy more specifically, and I'm in a really good situation where I think I can take advantage of a lot of the lessons from this book. So I want to reread it and like do a pretty thorough analysis, and really get the most out of this book. So that's what we're doing. I'm on chapter something. I think I'm in the intro. Yeah, I'm in the intro. I'm on like page 5. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick up. Basically, I'll try to summarize what's been going on. So mastery is really cool. It gets you into a flow state. It's super desirable. Like, it feels really good to be a master at something. It feels really good to like engage in. When you're at the top of your craft and the top of your field, it feels really good to like express that and to whatever, engage in your craft and to engage, to express your abilities and your skills. So it's like super desirable. Also, you'll probably make a lot of money because being a master at something means you're really good at it, which means other people will want to pay you to do that thing, assuming it's a marketable skill, which most things are nowadays. And then he goes through the process of he's been going through the process of how, or his hypothesis of how mastery evolved, like why are humans able to get to this state. So that was probably a shitty summary, but that's where we're at. So I'm gonna pick up from where I last left off, which I think was here, this paragraph. So I think Robert, I'm trying to remember exactly where we left off in like the context, but he's basically saying mastery takes a long time to achieve, and that's just a part of the process. And you can't skip the time part. You can't skip the process. You just gotta go through it. Yeah, and I guess the more you try to skip this process, and you try to shortcut the process to mastery, the more you do that, the time becomes more of your enemy, because you're not getting any better. You're not, I guess you're not in it for the long haul. So when the long haul arrives, when you eventually, whatever, the 5-10 years passes, you're not going to be in a very good place as compared to if you had put in the time from the get-go, and really put in the effort to become excellent at a craft. The more you do that, the more time is your friend. Because when you start something, you suck. Pretty much everyone sucks, unless you're like a virtuoso or a prodigy. You're going to suck when you start something new. But the more time you give it, and the more effort you put into it, you're going to get better. And if you put 5 to 10 years into something, you're going to get pretty damn good. So if you just stick to the process and don't fall off the path, you'll get somewhere pretty damn good. But if you try to skip the process, then the more time passes, the more you're not on the path. And the more you're not on the path, the more you're losing out. All right, so this paragraph, he's basically saying it's really stupid to try and shortcut the process and assume you're going to be the lucky person, the special person who can shortcut this process, when pretty much everyone who's achieved great success had to put in those, the 10,000 hours or like whatever, a lot of time. Granted, I don't know, technology, who knows? He's saying, yeah, it's really foolish to like bank on that, or to assume that you're going to be special and that you're not going to need to go through this process. Which is, yeah, true. This is really cool. At any moment, we can choose to shift our relationship to time and work with the grain, knowing of its existence and power. So anytime you can get back on the path. Whatever path you've gone on or you're called to, that you think is right for you, whether that's, I don't know, athletics, if you want to be a professional athlete, if it's writing, if you want to be a professional writer, if it's music, if it's business, engineering, science, comedy, whatever your thing is, you can get off the path. And I'm using path as a very broad kind of amorphous term, but it's like when you're on the path, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and like you're committing to the long haul, to the long game, and and that you're in this for the long game. If you get off it, You can change right there. You can just be like, all right, fuck it, I'm back on at a moment's notice. You can also fall off the path at a moment's notice. So that goes both ways. But you can make it, and this kind of goes back to the philosophy stuff we've been learning. You can choose, and I believe that free will exists, you can choose at any moment to at least try and change your life and improve it. You can choose at any moment to commit to a long-term goal, to mastery, to your career, to a craft. You can just, at any moment, like literally, all right, I'm going to try something. To the two people that are watching this, if you have something you really want to do, but you're not doing it for whatever reason, stop watching this, leave, and get back on it. Like, make a plan, commit to it. If you genuinely know this is what you want to do. I know there's a ton of other stuff. Your parents, maybe, your parents might not want you to do it. Your friends might not want you to do it. You might take a hit in your status, whatever. Fucking do it, bro. Just stop. Get off this. This is your chance. Not your chance. This is like, whatever. If you believe in God, this is... Okay, no, I'm not going there. Just make the choice. Okay, that's enough motivation. Anyways, with the element of time working for us. You know, that's an interesting point, or like, this is an interesting add-on, I guess, but when you like extend the time horizon for like bigger goals, and you're like, yeah, I'm giving this 10 years, a lot of work, like, it makes a lot of like day-to-day worries and concerns and anxieties and fear and all of these bad, like, it makes them it can make them pale or look small in comparison. Because you've got 10 years, bro. You can fail for like a month, a few months. You can make like very little like, it's fine. What's that one Hormozy quote? Like, I measure in decades, not days. It's kind of like that. Like, I think it helps a lot psychologically, because like, if you fail in one moment, it doesn't mean that much, because you got 10 years, bro. Like, you're committed. So, I think that's really cool. Think of the shift as a return to your radical deep past as a human, connecting to and maintaining. Okay. Keys to mastery. A man should learn to detect and watch that gleam of light which flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament. What does firmament mean? Of Barts and sages. So trust your instinct, intuition, conscience. Yet he dismisses without notice his thought because it is his. In every work of genius we recognize our own rejected thoughts. They come back to us with a certain alienated majesty. That's a cool quote. So I think what he's saying is like, well, first, what does firmament mean? I don't know what that means. Firmament. The vault or arch of the sky, heavens. I don't think that's what he means. The field or sphere of an interest or activity. Winkled in the heavens. Winkled in the... So this could mean a couple of things, but I think what I guess Emerson's saying is that well, a lot of people dismiss what they think. Why? I guess many reasons. Because other people tell you it's stupid. Because maybe your parents tell you it's stupid. Maybe you don't believe in yourself. Who knows? But you reject those thoughts. When those thoughts are really, really important. And you, like, by thoughts, I mean, like, I guess it's like the dreams or like this is what I want. This is what I want to do. This is what makes me come alive. This is what really excites me. Yeah, it's a really sad thing that people reject that because it's scary. Loki, all right, tangent. We're not reading right now. This is something I've been thinking about for, I guess, quite a while, kind of mulling in the back of my mind. But dude, it's like, and maybe this is obvious, but I find it's a lot scarier to actually like commit and go for what you want than to not, which is so weird because like you're guaranteed to fail if you don't ever go for what you want, but going for what you want is just way more scary for me because the consequences feel a lot more real. Like, I don't know, if you have a dream, like you want to be a musician, like you want to be you want to do music, but you never really clarify the dream, and it's kind of just this amorphous thing in the back of your mind, and you never make a plan, and you never try and actually go for it. You always have an excuse of like, I'll do it, a few years when I'm more secure. And then like, I don't know, like the consequences of failing they seem a lot more distant and vague, and because of that they're not as painful. But when you're actually going for it and failing in the moment, that fucking sucks. Like it feels a lot more painful because like I'm going for my dream, I'm failing. What if I never get this? What if I whatever? All those catastrophizing thoughts come up. But that's like orders of magnitudes. It's way better to actually go for it than to never go for it because you at least you have a chance. Like at least you have a chance. Whereas if you never go for it, you will never have a chance. It's just so weird that it seems more painful to go for something than to not go for it. Like I don't know. And I'm sure other people, I'm sure some of y'all share the sentiment, but it's like, man, that's kind of fucked up that our brain does that. Like, it's fucked up, man. Because, like, some people never take the first step because of that fear. And that's so sad. So sad. But, I don't know, I think you just have to go through it. Go through the fear. Just deal with it. And if you fail, hey, at least you can say you went for it, right? I think that's better than not going for it. Because then you'll have to deal with the what ifs, bro. You'll have to be like, man, what if I actually went for trying to be a musician? What if I actually tried to make it, Because I never actually tried. Maybe you sort of tried, but you never, like in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, I'm not giving this my full effort because I'm afraid of failing. And then, bro, you're like 50, and you're like, fuck, why did I do that? And then you have your midlife crisis, and you're like, fuck, shit. And then you either make peace with it, or maybe you go for it, but then you've not wasted, but you could have spent the past 30, 40 years actually going for it instead of not. And it's like, bro, that's like, low-key, that's one of my like deepest fears, is like getting to that point where you're like, you look back in your life, you're like, fuck. I could have done these things, and I knew it. That like, I mean, it's one thing if like you're looking back in your life and you're like, I do wish things would have gone differently, but I had no control over them going differently, or like I gave it my all. Like your life didn't go according to the way you wanted it to, but that was because of factors outside of your control. Like, I don't know. Like if I don't know, something happens, you like you're fucking hell, like your country goes to war and you get drafted or some shit like that, and you're like, oh, okay, this just throws a wrench into my life. And like, I don't know, something completely outside of your control. Like, yeah, that's still like, you know, would have been cool if things would have been differently, but I feel like that's just it's a different kind of pain when it's like, dude, I could have done something different. I knew it at the time and I was afraid, or afraid of something and I didn't go for it. And I knew I could have, like, I knew I was afraid, but I just didn't face that. I don't know why I'm ranting right now, but it's like, oh my God, that's so scary to me. That's so scary. I feel like that's gotta be one of like the worst pains, to like look back and be like, fuck, I wasted so much. Like, because of what? Because of I was afraid. I wonder how many people deal with that. You know, how many old people that you see walking on the street and they're like, how many like dreams are locked behind those eyes, behind that, inside of that head, that they're like, you know, could have done it, could have went for it, could have tried, but I didn't, or I didn't give it my all. Fuck. Oh. It's more reason to press onward, brothers. Keep going. To at least try. Oh, okay. I'm going to keep reading because that was a big tangent. I don't know where that came from, but hopefully that helps someone who's going through it. Okay. If all of us are born with it. Okay, so if we all have generally the same brains, like there's not like a crazy difference between people in terms of their brains. Oh, also I should make a note. So basically, like, in the beginning of the introduction, Robert goes into what differentiates humans from other animals, and it's basically our brains. We're smart. We have a big brain. We can think and reason and do cool shit like that. So, and that's the source of our unique power and our unique dominance over the other species, and why we've kind of mastered the physical environment, at least compared to the past. Like, we've gained a lot of control over our environment. And it's because we have big brains. Big brain. Okay. So basically he's asking if we all have similar brains that are essentially the same, and the brain is the source of like all our unique capabilities and why we're so dominant as a species and successful as a species. Why do some people become masters and excel in mastery, master a craft, whatever? And why do some people not do that, fail to do that, etc.? So I'm gonna try to answer this before I read his stuff. So you could go environment, you could go genetics, and then you could go free will, and a combination of those three paths to answer this. So like genetics, some people, let's be frank, some people aren't as smart. They'll be even more frank. Some people are dumb. None of their fault. Nothing they've done, but like they were just born with lower intelligence. Like, it's just a fact. Can you improve intelligence? Maybe. I don't know. Hopefully. I think the IQ research says generally no. I think. But, sorry, I think someone's coming downstairs. Okay, never mind. I thought someone was coming. I think the IQ research, I think the general gist is you can, like, if you have like adequate nutrition, you can, there's like a cap of your IQ. Think of it like that. There's some sort of potential, IQ just being intelligence, like basically just a measurement of intelligence. There's some sort of cap, and you can, by like with adequate nutrition and schooling and I guess an adequate environment, you can reach that cap, but the cap is set. You can't go above it. And it's set by your genetics. I think that's I could be wrong on that, so someone fact check me, but I think that's generally the consensus among IQ researchers. And you have no control over the cap. It is what it is. It's from your parents and their parents and whatever, your genetics. So some people, very intelligent. Some people are huge brains. Some people in the middle between like the population. That's probably where I am, somewhere in the middle. And then there's people who aren't as smart. So there's that. There's the environment. Like if you, if you grew up in if you grew up in a really shitty environment, like your parents abused you, and maybe you didn't even have parents. Maybe you grew up in like if you grew up in North Korea, probably not becoming a master because you don't have the opportunities to do so. You don't even have like adequate basic living essentials. Like it's hard to, it's like basically impossible to thrive. It is impossible to thrive for sure. And it's very difficult to live because you live in a dictatorship and the government uses force against you. So there's that, and then I don't know if he's going to get into it, but how I would answer is like the third one is free will. Some people choose to pursue mastery, and they choose to stay on the path, and that's free will. They make a choice. And I think free will is the most important. It's definitely I think it's the most essential, because if you never choose to pursue mastery and to continue to pursue mastery and to improve at your craft and yada yada yada, you will never do it. I think environment in extreme cases is probably also very important. Again, if you're in North Korea, you can master some things definitely, but like you just don't have the opportunities other people have, which is like completely out of your control. Of course, you can try to escape the country, but that's also like extremely difficult, like extremely difficult. Then genetics, which I don't know. I'm not sure. I imagine most people with like just like outside of like the extreme cases of like people who are what's the politically correct term now? I don't know. Mentally disabled. That might not be the politically correct term. Whatever. You know what I mean? People who are very low in the IQ threshold, they have some sort of mental disability. Again, no fault of their own. They probably can't, I imagine, just because they might just not have the capability to master a skill or master like super complex skills. Maybe not. I don't know. I would have to see examples. But I think most people probably can achieve mastery. It might take some people longer, given different circumstances. But I think as long as you commit to the path, and however long it takes you, if you commit to I'm going to stay on this no matter what, you'll probably eventually get there. I just think the time is probably going to be different. Anyways, that might all be completely wrong. Maybe Robert has a different answer, but that's what I think. If you're interested. Okay, And it's probably a combination of all of these things, with free will being the most important, because if you don't pursue mastery, you will never achieve it. You have to first pursue it, and like that's a prereq, right? And then environment and genetics can help with that process. Okay, the common explanations for Mozart or Da Vinci: natural talent and brilliance, which I'm sure there is some natural talent for sure. I think Mozart was like excellent as a child. I'm guessing something similar for Da Vinci. Now, of course, they probably put in a lot of work very early on. So, yeah, I'm sure it's a combination. How else can we account? Thousands of children display exceptional skill and talent, yet few of them ever amount to anything. Kind of harsh, but I guess true. Whereas those who are less brilliant in their youth can often attain much more. It cannot explain. I would agree with that. It can explain it. It probably can influence, but natural talent and high IQ cannot explain achievement, but definitely can influence. Darwin and Galton. So Darwin admits that he was a very ordinary boy, below the common standard in intellect, no great quickness for apprehension, can't follow a long and purely abstract train of thought. I wonder how true that is. I mean, I guess Darwin's saying it, so I mean, it's from the horse's mouth, but I wonder if he's just being humble. Like, I'm sure he was pretty smart. Um, maybe not like a genius, but I'm sure he's pretty smart. Passion. I think passion's really important too for mastery. Like, you gotta love what you do. You gotta love the process too, um, or at least when you're starting, like it. Otherwise, you're gonna give up, bro. And time's like the most important factor. Time and like incremental improvement at your craft. Those are like the most important factors. So if you whatever makes you stay on the path, which passion, loving it, that's pretty important. The better. Career in the church. Nice. Okay, so basically Darwin had a passion as a young child for studying animals. Where was it? Collecting biological specimens. So I guess animals, plants, whatever, things that are alive. And he had an opportunity fairly young to go in like a pretty complex project, or play a part in a complex project, or project. Toured the world, got to learn so much. So it sounds like he passion started early and had cool opportunities come his way that kind of helped him. What would the word be like? Make pretty relative to if he was just on his own, make pretty quick progress toward mastering whatever science, being a scientist. The basic elements of this story are repeated in the lives of great masters in history. This is important. So, predilection. What's predilection? Is that like temperament? Predilection. A preference, okay. So passion or preference, chance encounter that allows them to discover how to apply their passion, an apprenticeship, and then they make a bunch of progress. I wonder if I'm gonna. So clearly this is not genetic, it's an interesting question on to what degree do genetics influence your preferences. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, basically, follow your passion, it seems like. So I'm just going to summarize this because this is an important point. All right, so the main elements: passion at a young age, some sort of encounter or opportunity that enables them to apply that passion and figure out how to apply it so that they can build skills. And then an apprenticeship where they learn very intensely and study very intensely, and as a result, like, build a lot of skills and gain a lot of knowledge. And the core of this intensity is passion, essentially. A deep and powerful inclination toward the subject. So, I wonder if but in that statement, or whatever, that description, youthful, what if you didn't have a passion when you were young? Or not really, at least. I guess, I'm sure most people, okay. Sorry, I'm fucking word salad right now. Most kids probably had some passion. Even if it's not super clear in their mind. Like, what did I like? I like video games. Big gamer. I liked making stories in my mind. That was fun. I got into business when okay, so yeah, there are things. They're not like a big, I was in love with this thing from, like, I don't know, the moment I saw I don't know, the moment I went to the zoo and, like, I fell in love with animals and, like, how they studying them or whatever, I don't know. But, like, there's not like a key moment. It's more like, I don't know, we just had stuff you enjoyed doing, and that kind of developed into, or I had stuff I enjoyed doing, and it kind of just became, I don't know, snowballed into semi-passions, at least. And I wonder if that's enough. I wonder if you need, like, a big thing. Where you become obsessed, or if it can be more of a slow, gradual process where you might like something and then you learn about it, maybe you try doing it. Over time, you start to maybe love it, and then maybe you're like, oh my God, this is like my life's work, my passion, whatever. Or I wonder if it has to be like nope, I was in love with this thing from, like, I first set my eyes on it. I don't know. Inclination is a reflection of the person's uniqueness. It is a scientific fact that genetically every one of us is unique. This is a cool fact. Like, you will never exist again, which, duh, but, like, your genetics, that will never be repeated unless we can clone people. But assuming that doesn't happen, or doesn't happen in my lifetime, we will never be able to. There will never be another Jackson, which is, it's kind of cool. That's pretty cool. Uniqueness is revealed to us by our preferences, music or mathematics. He's saying, okay, he's saying our, like, inclinations, or at least our deep inclinations, are a result of our genetics. Our inclinations, our interests, our passions, our preferences are a reflection of our uniqueness, of what makes us different and special, unique, whatever. And the result of, and the cause of that uniqueness is, it seems like he's claiming it's primarily genetic. Because, again, there will never be another genetic makeup like us. Which, there's also the experiences you have. Like, no one will ever have your life. No one will ever have the exact genetics you have and the exact experiences you've had. Which, that's all true. And then, I guess the result of both of those two things interacting with each other, and then you also, whatever, using free will, that results in passions and interests developing. I don't know. This seems a little, I don't know. Genetically, every one of us is unique. It seems like a bit, maybe a bit of a stretch to say our interests, our inclinations are a result of our genetics entirely. But then where do interests come from? That's an interesting question. I'm going to write that down. Where do interests and passions come from? They kind of just do appear, to be honest. Like, you just try something, you're like, oh, wow, this is enjoyable. This is pleasurable. I'm good at this. Or maybe you're not good at it, but you still like it. It's fun. Why is it fun? I don't know. You know, why do I like this sport versus that sport? Or why do I like, I don't know, philosophy versus mathematics? I don't know. I mean, I could come up with answers, but anyways, all right, sorry. As a question answer another time. With those who stand up by their mastery, they experience this inclination more deeply and clearly than others. So, inner calling dominates their thoughts and dreams. They find their way by accident or sheer effort to a career path in which this inclination can flourish. The self-doubts, tedious hours of practice, inevitable setbacks, they develop resilience and confidence others lack. Okay, so the people who are most in touch with their passions, their interests, their values, bringing in philosophy, their values, most clearly and deeply in touch with those things, the more likely that person is going to become a master at their craft, because they care about this thing. They're going to nurture this passion, this inclination, and they're going to try and make it flourish. And they're going to find their way to a career path where this inclination can flourish, where their passions can flourish, and where they can become good at it, become good at something. And because they're super connected with what they love, what makes them come alive, they can always refer to that love and that connection whenever the doubts come, whenever they're bored, some sort of pain comes, some sort of setback. Maybe they get fired from their job. Maybe their first album flops. Maybe their fifth album flops. It's like all of these failures, and you're like, well, I love this thing more than I care about the pain of failing. So that's an interesting point. You really have to nurture that connection to this inclination, to this, this inclination, this value, this passion. You really need to nurture that and take care of it and not let it die or wither. I think that happens, when you're young. I guess your passions are a lot clearer, and you haven't been beaten down by society or whatever. You haven't had your dreams beaten out of you. That's a horrible thing. That's a horrible thing we do to kids. Beat their dreams out of them. Don't like that. Yeah, but I guess when you're young, you haven't been clouded by, really young. I'm thinking I don't know, before the teenage years, and maybe even before the preteen years. You haven't been clouded with expectations by other people. That's a big one. I guess the realities of what it means to be an adult. How am I going to pay rent? How am I going to pay my bills in general? Put food on the table? You're probably not that concerned with status yet, so that's not influencing your decision making. And so because of that, you see those, you're just more clearly in touch with your passions, what you love. And then I think as we grow up, that connection, I guess that flame, it weakens, it withers a bit because, life happens. And if you don't if you don't actively pursue that passion, it's not going to happen. And again, it's going to get drowned out by all of the other things pulling your attention. All of the other, and all of these other, I would say, like these other outside factors that aren't good to pursue in general, and maybe always, like status, like approval of other people, especially strangers, like just pursuing those things for themselves. When that, especially in particular, when that comes in conflict with what you love, that's just is bad, not good. And I think as we grow older, that's what tends to happen, which is really unfortunate. Anyways, another tangent. I'm pretty tired. Did not sleep well. I think when I'm tired, I go on more tangents. That's what I've observed in this stream. I tend to ramble a lot more. Maybe that's good. I don't know. Maybe it's more interesting. Okay. But point being, those who are most in touch, I think by most in touch, I mean those who have who feel their passion the most, like they feel it, like that it grips them, who feel their calling, their life's purpose, whatever, they feel that and they are very clear on it. So there's like an intellectual and emotional aspect. The people who have both of those really well fleshed out are most likely to become masters. Because again, whenever they're in the thick of it, they're in the grind, they're in the trenches, and there's moments of weakness, moments of pain, moments of doubt, moments of all these I want to give up. They can look back, they can look at these two things, I know why I'm doing this, and I love this, and I can feel it. They can use that as a source of strength to persevere, to keep going, to stay on the path. Which makes sense. In our culture, we tend to equate thinking and intellectual powers with success and achievement. In many ways, however, it is an emotional quality. Yeah, it's both. I think it's both. It's definitely both. Of course, intelligence is extremely important, but also being really in touch with sorry, my roommate came down. I'm getting self-conscious. Give me 1 second. Okay, I kicked him out. I didn't kick him out, but I told him I was streaming. Okay. Where was I? I don't even know. Oh, we equate thinking and intellectual powers with success and achievement, but success is also, there's an emotional quality involved. Feeling motivated and energized, we can overcome almost anything. Feeling bored and restless and scared, fear, big thing. Our minds shut off and we become increasingly passive. Yeah, I think that's true. I think there's a bit more to it though. Let me unpack this for a second. So I think part of the way you get that emotional quality is through the intellect. What do I mean by that? So like to let me think about that. Okay. So these emotions, desire, patience, persistence. Well, I guess these aren't all emotions, but there's like an emotional element to these things. I think they're a result of like thinking through why you care about something, or like emotions aren't like just a primary. They're not primary. Like they're not a there's reasons behind your emotions. And there are reasons behind why you feel a certain way, why the work energizes you, why you get pumped up when you're doing something, or why this thing makes you bored. Like there are reasons behind all of these emotions, and you can introspect and kind of pick apart the reasons, and over time get your emotions more in line with not what you want them to be, but what's correct, what the proper emotion is. For a given situation. So it's kind of both. Like you can reason your emotions in a sense. This is a very long term process. It doesn't happen overnight. But like yeah, you can like if you're feeling, I don't know, you feel scared and you're like, why do I feel scared? You write it down. You think about it. You get to the core reason. Maybe it's I don't want to be I don't want to fail my parents. That might hit deep a little bit. Oh, that hits a little deep. And then you're like, okay, do I care that much about my parents? And you might say, yeah, maybe. Like, I love my parents. Okay. Should they control your life, given you're an adult now? Like you can. Maybe this is a bad example, but you can pick apart the emotion. Maybe you want to call your parents to be like, hey, I'm feeling this way. And maybe you're not comfortable with that, but if you're cool with your parents like that, like, hey, I'm feeling this way, you have a conversation about it. Maybe it goes well, maybe it goes horribly, but like you can figure out the causes behind your emotions, and over time, both through like if the cause doesn't make sense over time, that emotion should sort itself out. And again, it can take a long time, but if you like, oh yeah, this is a really bad reason to feel this way. Like it doesn't make sense. It's not rational. Over time, the emotion should dissipate, or at least become something different. But it also might require some, behavioral therapy as well, where or like not behavioral, exposure therapy, especially if it's fear, where like you actually go out and like do like if the emotion is fear, you do what is scaring you, and then you realize it's not scary, and then the emotion goes away. Point being, the emotions can be changed, and I would say made correct by reason, by thinking, by introspecting, figuring out the causes of your emotions and picking those causes apart. But the broad point Robert is making is that like your emotions are very important in success because, or the emotional aspect, because that's what's going to keep you on in the process. That's going to keep you on the path in the process because, or it's going to help you. It's going to make it a lot more enjoyable to stay on the path. So I agree with that. Only elites with an almost superhuman amount of energy and drive could pursue a career of choice. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. That's a really good point. Like, it might be a point where we see so few masters in the past is because there's so little opportunity for people to pursue their passions and to choose their careers, because you might have been like segregated within a hierarchy and like, okay, you're a peasant, you're gonna farm. That's what it is. You have no choice in the matter. And only, I mean, Greene is claiming, yeah, only the elites who had more opportunities open to them could they could choose their career, and then you also have to match the career with the talent and desire, which is hard. Like, it's hard to do that. So that makes sense. That makes sense to me. I think that's true. The social and political barriers have mostly disappeared. Yeah. Oh, interesting. The very concept of mastery has become denigrated, associated with something old-fashioned and even unpleasant. It is generally not seen as something to aspire to. I don't know if that's true. I'm skeptical if that's true. I mean, to be frank, I'm not super plugged into the culture. I'm kind of a hermit. So, and I have my things I like, and I don't know what else is going on. So maybe that is true, but my perspective, like, I think yeah, the pursuit of excellence, I think people like that generally. Now they might not like the work involved. I would agree with that, but I don't know if mastery or excellence has been denigrated. I don't know. Like, I think most people want to be good at what they do. At least deep down. So I don't know. Our livelihoods are at the whim of globalized forces. Our politicians are distant. I mean, yeah, it's pretty true. To retreat. Oh, wow. This kind of relates to the riff I was going on earlier about like fear of trying. Wow. Yeah, this relates pretty deeply. So yeah, if you don't try, you do give yourself an illusion. Well, do you give yourself an illusion of control? I guess you have more. Well, maybe, because you can always say, well, if I did try, I probably would have succeeded. So you assume you're more in control than you are, maybe. But the less we attempt to try, the less chances of failure. Yep. That's sort of not true. Like, in a very big picture sense, it's not true, because you're going to fail at the ultimate goal, which is your dream, if you never try. And that's the most important failure. I guess. That's the most important thing in this whole process, is like going after what you want and getting what you really, really want in life, what you really, your calling. So you might have less like whatever, shorter or even medium term failures. Like you might not get fired from that job you really liked, or you might not, or get laid off, or you might not, or that business might not flop. But bro, you never get the big thing then, which is the most important. So that's interesting. This is a really interesting sentence. If we can make it look like we are not really responsible for our fate, for what happens to us in life, then our apparent powerlessness is more palatable. So like, I kind of get it, but like there are things you genuinely can't control in life, and you should accept those things and know what those things are, so you don't have unrealistic expectations for yourself. And you should know what you can control and make the most out of those things and take advantage of those things. Like, for this reason, we become attracted to certain narratives. It is genetics that determines much of what we do. Not about what we do, but genetics determines a lot of who you are. Well, in a sense. Genetic influences a lot. I think that's a better word. Influences a lot, for sure. We are just products of our environment. I mean, not products, but like influence. Like, yes, genetics and environment influence things. But you also have free will, so you can choose. The individual is just a myth. Human can be behavior. Yeah, okay. So this is just determinism. Human behavior can be reduced to statistics. That's just assume people cannot choose to go against whatever the statistical trend is. Which again, I believe there's free will. So I can see determinism being just completely take out the intellectual like arguments for determinism or free will. I can see it being an appealing. Well, I can see both being appealing, like in terms of like the narratives behind them. Like determinism, oh, you're not responsible. It's not your fault. You couldn't have done otherwise. But with free will, it's like, oh, I can change my life. I can make things better. Like, okay, let's go. So there's different pros and cons to the narratives. Again, completely outside the whether determinism or free will exists or doesn't, or whether one or the other is true or false. So I get where he's going. I do think it's a bit of an oversimplification. I mean, I guess with how he's worded it, like, yes, determines, like it is genetics that determines much of what we do. I don't like the word determines there. I would rather have influence. If it were influence, I think that would be true. We are just products of our times. I think that's a false statement. We are influenced by our times. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're not products because, again, free will. So I guess what he's saying is technically true. So that's fine. Many take this change in value a step further. They romanticize the self-destructive artist who loses control of him or herself. That's true. The starving artist is a thing. It is a bit romanticized. Like pursuing your passion, I don't care what happens, whatever. That's true. Like technology, well, I mean, technology is amazing. Love technology, but like the advent of certain technology, social media comes to mind specifically, but also like just like faster, more immediate technologies that provide faster, more immediate rewards has made it, I think it has made it more difficult for people in general to delay gratification, to pursue long-term goals. That said, the pros absolutely outweigh the cons, and you can buttress yourself against the cons. Like you can build a practice of discipline and pursue long-term goals, and be careful with certain technology and certain, certain technology so that it doesn't erode that discipline and that ability to delay gratification for sure. Anyways, that was random. Why bother working for years when you can have so much power with very little? Okay, who says this? This is a quote. Technology will solve everything. I don't know if people say this exact sentence. I've never heard this sentence. I mean, I don't even get this. I don't even hear the sentiment. I hear people saying like, "That's a lot of work. I don't want to do it." I mean, sure, you hear that, or like, "Yeah, I'm fine with my creature comforts and like my more hedonistic life," but I don't hear people saying, "We have so much power now." Mastery and power are evil. Okay, well, you are conflating mastery and power. Looked at as the ability to influence people, I think. The ability, okay, maybe not. The ability to act or produce an effect. Oh, but there's another version. Possession of control, authority, or influence over others. I mean, power is kind of a big term that combines a lot of things that probably should be separate, like political power, economic power, maybe personal power. That might be a thing. So it's kind of, because like, if power is simply the ability to get what you want, in some ways that's good. It depends on how you get what you want. If it's through skill and like expertise and hard work and those sorts of things, I think it's very good. But if it's through like political coercion or manipulating other people, that's fucked up. You shouldn't do that. But I guess what he's saying is like people conflate these two things. Well, mastery and power are evil. They are domain of patriarchal elites who oppress us. Power is inherently bad. It depends what you mean by power. You gotta define the terms. Better to opt out of the system altogether, or at least make it look that way. Yeah, bro, you gotta define what power is. Because again, like, political power, generally, if it's abused, that's bad. Like, it's bad to coerce people. That's not good. But like, if personal power, like, I could just like achieve my goals. I'm efficacious. I'm competent. Yeah, those are all great. Those are wonderful things. So, gotta define the terms. If you're not careful, you'll find this attitude infecting you in subtle ways. True. I mean, my solution is just to not pay attention to the culture. Not the culture, but like, I just don't consume news. That helps a lot. Yeah, not consuming news does help a lot with this, I guess. Social norms. Low-key, yeah. You'll listen to others more than your own voice. Yeah, that's not good. Yep. You may choose a career path based on what your parents or peers tell you, or what makes a lot of money, even if you hate it or don't love it. You also got to think about this. If you're purely looking at like, it's a very short-term game to say, I'm going to pursue a career because it makes me a lot of money, because again, long enough time, you're competing with other people in the workforce. And maybe there are not enough people for this, but at some point, someone who's actually passionate about the thing they're pursuing is going to beat you. Probably more times than not, because they have that like energy behind them. They have passion. And so they're going to be more likely to put in longer hours, to stick with it, to just do it, do more of it, and do a better job of it. So like I think it's a long-term, like it's a losing situation it's definitely a losing. Well, it's immediately a losing situation to pursue something you hate because it makes a lot of money. Because you hate it. Like, who cares if it makes you a lot of money? You hate it. Like, what's the point of living if where you spend the majority of your waking hours work, you hate. So you hate the majority of your working hours. Oh, it makes me a lot of money. Well, I can buy my Bugatti now. Or my whatever. Buy a big house, buy nice clothes, designer bags. But you hate what you have to do to get those things. And you might not even really care about those things. Like, not really. You might just get them because, whatever, status. Probably mostly status. And maybe, and I'm sure a lot of people do, like, no, I do enjoy the clothing, the fashion of it. I do enjoy the cars. I think they're, like, beautiful, and I like cars, and, like, I'm a car guy. You know, like, yeah, those are very legitimate reasons to get those things. But I think more often than not, it's just a status grab. Like, really, like, if you look back in your life, like, are you really going to care about your status? No. You're going to care about if you did what you love. If you woke up every day and you're like, you know what? Not you know what, like, damn, I get to, like, yeah, I get to pursue my passion and make a living. And, like, I get to do this every day. Like, wow, that's amazing. Just like, bro. Damn, I'm going off on these tangents today. I don't know what's going on. It's the lack of sleep, I'm telling you. Okay. Yeah, but low-key, I'm definitely a fuck social norms kind of guy. I mean, it depends what the social norms are. Like, and to be honest, that is kind of the wrong approach. It's not fuck social norms. It's like, what are the norms? Do they make sense, or are they hurting me? And, like, how are they hurting or helping me achieve my goal? Like, some norms are great. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you just have to look at what the norms are. And do they make sense? If they don't make sense, then you gotta become comfortable and get good at not caring what strangers think, and by, I guess, ducking those norms. Ducking, is that a word? Or is that a phrase? A verb? Yeah, you come to live for you become a hedonist if, yeah. Yep. Which sucks. You must see your attempt at attaining mastery as something extremely necessary and positive. I mean, definitely good. Like, yeah, it's good to be a like, it feels, if you just, like, think about it purely selfishly, it feels really good to be a master at something. Like, there's so much self-esteem that you get from that. You'll probably make more money, which is like, that's a good thing, generally. In fact, I think pretty much always a good thing, unless it comes at the cost of something that you care more about. The work will probably become more fun the better you get at it, because you'll be able to, A, do more complex things, which generally is more fun because it engages you more. You'll probably be able to attain flow states more easily. Like, there's a bunch of positives just for you as an individual. And then, yeah, and you'll probably be able to work on really big, important problems that you care about. Yeah, genetics will not save us, of course. Being nice will not save us. This is not mastery for the purpose of dominating nature. Well, I mean, it kind of is the purpose of dominating nature, but it depends what you mean by that, or other people. But for determining our fate. Okay, that just seems like a, all right, this is a technical thing. It's a cool sentence, I'm not going to lie. Like, I like the term, like, sounds cool, but I'm pretty sure fate by definition is, like, determined. Like, you can't determine it. It's determined by outside factors, or factors outside of your control. So I don't think that's fine. Whatever, it's a cool sentence. The passive ironic attitude is not cool or romantic, but wait, what? Yeah, low key, like, I remember in high school, like, being a tryhard was a bad thing, you know? Like, oh wow, you're putting in a lot of effort. Um, that's so silly. Like, yeah, I try hard at the things I care about. Like, wow, that's such a good thing. When people hate on it, it just doesn't make sense, man. And like low key, the real losers are people who like don't take life seriously. And I mean seriously in like a not like always not like not having fun, but like who like yeah they don't care. You know those people like they don't care about anything really. They're always like yeah whatever man. Like I'm just going with it. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just and to be fair, I'm sure like there are reasons for why they feel that way. That like maybe something happened when they were a kid. But again, like that's just such a bad attitude. It's like, no, care deeply about the things that are important to you. Go after them. Enjoy the process. But like, man, fucking yeah, I hate that. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. Oh my god. You are setting an example of what can be achieved as a master. You are contributing to the most important cause of the survival. Okay, well, I disagree with this. So, sounds like might be utilitarian. So his moral standard is greatest good for greatest number of people, the greatest number of people. You're contributing to the most important cause of all, the survival and prosperity of the human race. So I disagree with this, but whatever, that's his position. Second, you must convince yourself the following people get the mind. People get the mind and quality of brain that they deserve through the actions. Fucking hell. People get the mind and quality of brain that they deserve through their actions in life. I mean, the brain is pretty plastic. I mean, still though, I'm pretty sure the IQ research is, I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure the IQ research is, yeah, it's large, it's pretty much genetically capped at this point. Maybe we'll develop intervention effect. People who are passive, oh, my timer went off. Generally, being passive sucks. You shouldn't be passive in life because, I don't know, like, yeah, take your life seriously. Like, it seems kind of self-evident. Okay, I gotta go because I got other work to do and other stuff to do today. But good session, y'all guys. Hopefully, I know I definitely was a bit more all over the place and went on a bunch of tangents, but hopefully they'll make good clips. Hopefully. And yeah, I'm gonna try and get chat set up where I can actually read chat. Maybe later today I need to edit a lot of footage from some past streams and try to get some clips. But if not today, I'm gonna try tomorrow. Might not be able to get tomorrow too because I got a bunch of shit to do. So if any of y'all know how to set up chat and stream specifically through OBS, let me know. That would be awesome. I'm multi-streaming, so like I'm streaming to YouTube, Kick, and Twitch at the same time because why not? I don't know if you could compile all the chats into one thing that I can see. That would be really cool. So if anyone knows how to do that, please, I don't know, shoot me a message. Can you do that on these platforms? I don't know. Leave a comment. Yeah, leave a comment. That would be awesome. Or leave it in chat how to do it. Duh. Fuck, I'm stupid. Yeah, leave it in chat. And I'll read it, the broadcast chat. All right, whatever. All right, guys, gotta go. Thanks for joining. And also, yeah, I do plan to do more than just the reading stuff. I've been doing it for like the past few weeks because that's kind of all I'm gonna do this anyways, and I wanted to start streaming because I want to start doing it and getting better on camera and speaking more. And I'm already doing this, and so I was like, okay, this will just be like, it won't take any extra time. I do want to start doing like other types of streams that's more engaging. That involves you guys a lot more. So just maybe just chatting with you guys. I don't know, debates, things like that. So there should be more fun content coming probably within the next few months. So